Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I have found the night song.
And I'm Claire, and I'm just safe scumming.
And this is Make That Game,
where we pitch the latest,
the greatest
new video game ideas
that will never get made.
Dum, dum, dum.
Folks, I don't know if you can hear my noise, my voice, my nasally voice. I have once again fell sick with that
Oh, classic.
ailment. Oh, are we keeping that in for the
that was just
verisimilitude?
perfect.
The immersion.
Yeah, that was just the perfect timing for that one.
Yeah, I'm doing that coughing thing again. So if audio quality suffers,
I mean, it should be fine.
I'm leaning away so much. And...
Usually it works out.
Okay.
Usually I'm good at editing it.
All right, I'm gonna try my best not to
cough.
Okay, well, that paperwork out of the way. Let's get on to the business. What do we do here? We pitch video game ideas to each other.
We do that.
I'm going to let you pitch a video game idea.
Okay.
This time.
Well, so one thing we've been doing is we have a theme every week, and then we forget to tell people on the podcast what the theme is. So last week we didn't say what the theme was going to be this week, but the theme this week is Lizzard Wizard.
Which I came up with, and it might be a little too small in scope.
Yeah, I feel like it's
thought
very
that
specific.
You could open it up. I thought it could be opened up. I thought it could be clever to open up. But then I tried.
Yeah.
And while it is possible to crack it open a little away from expectations, it's not the easiest or most obvious thing in the world, and it's just too close. So don't let me pick in the future.
You've picked almost every single one.
Yeah, well, don't let me do it.
Okay.
Because I make mistakes.
Well, we all make
Unlike
mistakes.
everyone
I'm going to
else.
make mistakes
I
also.
am the only one who makes mistakes.
Okay.
But yeah, I would like to hear your Lizzard Wizard game, please.
So my Lizzard Wizard game is, so basically it's inspired by the BBC show Merlin.
Oh, I thought you were saying the Better Business Bureau,
No.
throwback to a previous episode.
Yeah, you love the Better Business Bureau, but no, this is inspired by the BBC show Merlin.
Okay.
So the idea is that, but also kind of Ratatouille.
Ratatouille! Yes! Is there a little lizard in the wizard hat?
Yeah, so basically, you are a lizard sitting on a knight's shoulder, and you are casting magic to aid them in their questing.
Okay, all right.
And the mechanic for that is kind of resource gathering and more like alchemy, I guess, than magic. So you're doing potion making and maybe directing your knight to collect certain things. And
so is the knight AI controlled?
Yeah.
Like you can give him indirect commands. You can say hey, you should move over there, and depending on your relationship with him, he might listen to you.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And you're just on him little shoulders.
Yeah.
Can you get off of him?
No.
Okay, you're always on his shoulder. Yeah. Okay, so if he gets you to the general vicinity and then he refuses to pick flowers, then you're SOL.
Yeah,
then you gotta give him treats. You either gotta learn the mind control spell or give him little treats to coax him into.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a little bit Wandering
Village. Yeah. I was thinking Hey You Pikachu.
No.
It was a Nintendo 64 game where you played with Pikachu. The feature was there was a microphone attachment that came with it, and you spoke into the headphone or into the microphone on your controller to tell him what to do.
With
you'd be like, "Hey, pick up that okra,"
and it would work.
Yeah, I mean, it was the mid '90s. The technology was there-ish.
Yeah.
So it wasn't perfect, but you could in general and I think that every command that you could give with voice, you could also give with the controller. I don't think you had to speak to him.
Okay,
and I think
it was
more
a gimmick.
effective. Yeah, it was a gimmick. But the general idea is you could point to flowers and stuff, and Pikachu would pick them or interact with them in some way, and you could tell him to do stuff. But you didn't have direct control over him, and he could do his own thing if he wanted. If he wanted to not listen to you and go play with flowers when you wanted to go to the beach, he would do that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, so I guess it's Wandering Village, Hey You Pikachu, and BBC Merlin all rolled up into one.
I like that. And then there's combat sequences where you are just buffing the knight and basically watching him battle.
So you can buff their attack. You can do like shields and like protection spells, and you can still do offensive spells
like
too.
fireballs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like Merlin in the sense that magic is illegal, so you have to do it sneakily?
So I thought about this, and I just don't know if that works with like him being on your shoulder. Like, how are you gonna actually like? Where's the like stealth element there? I'm not sure.
It would just be like, yeah, it would be very hard to implement like subtle spell casting, perhaps, but it would be like you cannot cast spells in knights tournaments under the watchful eye of the king.
But like in BBC Merlin, you fully do cast spells at night.
That's true, which is why I'm like, you would need some kind of subtle spell implementation, and each spell would like could be D&D style and have different components, and maybe like you could whisper the verbal components. But
I think that like adds too much. We did, to back up a little, BBC Merlin, if for those who don't know, is a very silly show about like King Arthur as like a teen and his teen manservant Merlin, they're just both regular age teens. Like Merlin is not an ancient wizard, he's just like 20 or whatever. I don't know.
It's good.
I'm not sure exactly how old they're actually supposed to be, but it's very goofy, silly fun, and magic is outlawed in Camelot. So but Merlin is always just kind of like right behind Arthur, like making sure he does okay with his magic. That's where I got the idea. So just the background there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's my game. It is called maybe like Magic on the Shoulder.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. Okay. It's your turn for your Lizard Wizard.
My game is called Lizzard Wizard: The Quest for All Spells.
Ooh, okay.
And you are a lizard wizard. You are a wizard who is a lizard.
Wow.
And you
weird that
travel
we
the
both
land.
came up with that.
And you have... Yeah, right? Okay, so for gameplay, I want you to imagine Pokemon, but instead of monsters, it's spells. You go across the land to catch them all.
Okay.
To write them all down in your spell book. The spell book is the Pokédex, right?
Okay. Yep.
So you have to find and record every spell in the world. How do you know how many spells exist in the world?
It's in the Pokédex.
Exactly. You happen to have a book that has a number of pages equal to the number of spells in the world. Weird how that works.
It's like the periodic table.
Well, I don't know what that means.
Like, the periodic table is all elements that exist.
Yeah.
Based on the number of protons that are attached.
Okay. So are spells protons?
No, I'm just saying that like there's a finite number of
You're right. Okay,
elements.
yeah.
There's a finite number of spells in the world. Sorry.
Okay,
Continue.
yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, basically the gameplay loop is you go to areas. There are enemies to fight.
Lovers? No, sorry.
There could be lovers too. Enemies to fight. Towns to explore. NPCs to talk to. Wild magical places to find. And each of these like might have access to spells. Like some NPC might know a spell for sharpening swords.
Ooh.
You might go to a particularly beautiful waterfall in nature and learn a spell to shape water just from being in the presence of this beautiful spot. It's inherent ley line magic or whatever. You might come across like bats that have the magic power to confuse enemies with their shrieks, and then you can learn from studying and battling these bats their spells.
Battling.
And then each of these spells you can use in new areas to unlock more spells. So like maybe the bat shriek confusion spell you can use on like an enemy wizard and confuse him into making him think that you're his ally so that he will transcribe his spell for you. Maybe you can use the waterfall shape water spell in a desert oasis to open up like a sunken tomb that has a mummification spell.
So similarly to Pokemon, it's like you collect these spells and then you use these spells to collect more spells. Just like you would collect Pokemon, use those Pokemon to battle other Pokemon, and therefore collect more Pokemon. Gotcha.
Exactly. And there's a ton of areas to explore, each with their own little gimmicks and hidden spots. And yeah, you win when you've collected every spell with your Lizard Wizard.
I like it. I think I'd like this better than Pokemon, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
There's a little more variety, of what you're doing. Like sometimes you're doing deception,
that's
sometimes you're
true.
doing like just wandering and exploring, and sometimes you're doing battles.
It's got something for everyone.
Yeah, I like that. Awesome. Well, that sounds like a game I would definitely play.
Would you? Would you really?
I think I would at least try it.
Okay.
And if it is actually better than Pokemon, I probably would finish it.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I've played some Pokemon, and anyway. Well, we're actually going to talk probably a little bit about Pokemon in
Whoa.
this discussion. So now it's our discussion topic time. We are going to talk about basically when you have an open world game, how do you kind of continue to tell the story? Like if the character or the player character can like effectively do whatever they want, how do you still build narrative in that sense?
Oh, easy. Easy. You don't.
Okay.
I mean, okay. So
expand.
So, all right. So obviously easiest way to do this is to still have like one mainline quest that you complete.
Let's like define open world just to
Okay. Let's start with the basics
baseline.
because not everyone knows everything like I do.
Right. I mean that's
okay.
kind of the point. We want this to be open to everyone.
Open world is going to be like any sort of game where you kind of get plunked into an area, multiple areas, into the world, and then you're kind of free to do whatever you want within the constraints of the game mechanics, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say whatever you want, I don't mean, oh, I'm just going to fly to the sun.
Right.
Most open world games still have constraints that don't allow you to do that, but it'll be like Witcher 3. You are placed in the war-torn swamplands of Redania or whatever. It's been a while since I played it, so I forget which country it was in.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, there's a ton of little villages to explore, and there's monsters to fight, and there's wilderness with like huts and abandoned fortresses and dungeons and monster nests and stuff. And you just kind of go around and you do whatever you want. Oblivion, you, spoiler alert, come out of the dungeons, out of the sewers, and then you are in Tamriel. Or Cyrodiil. Tamriel is the world, I think, or the continent, but Cyrodiil is like the country you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you can accomplish the main quest, or you can you can see that there's a village unrelated to the main quest and just go to that village and explore their Lovecraftian nonsense that they're doing. Who knows?
Yeah.
So that's the idea of an open world. You are in the middle of it, and you can do the main quest line, or you can pick flowers. Yeah. The world is open to explore and operate with how you wish. So the main thing to do here to keep like a narrative going is to have one main narrative. Oblivion. You have one main quest line about closing the doors of Oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do whatever you want, but that one narrative only progresses like itself. Everything else is unrelated to it. Doesn't matter. You can go become the king of the Mages Guild. King of the Mages Guild. What? Guild master.
Uh-huh.
You Fighters Guild, Thieves Guild. You can kill every bandit camp in the world. You can do whatever you want, but if you're not progressing the main story quest, that narrative is not building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Easy way to implement it. Just have one specific quest line that is the main quest line that carries the main narrative. And then
and like in theory you never have to do that.
And
you could just do every side quest and then stop playing the game. Like that would be acceptable.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's the most common implementation, I think. And you can have some references in the main quest that'll like check story flags. Like, if you accomplish a certain quest after you become the guild master of the Mages Guild, they'll be like, this isn't a real example from Oblivion, but this is like a possible thing that you could do. You like, oh, we need a powerful mage to help us close this portal. And then if the character is the guild master of the Mages Guild, then the character will be like, luckily, we have the guild master of the Mages Guild right here. Otherwise, you have to it'll incorporate some kind of quest to find a powerful mage. And that is a very neat little addition that I would recommend everyone doing, like figuring out like pivot points for the main narrative that can check other side quests that you've done. And if they're like particularly relevant, incorporate that. Again, that's not an example from Oblivion. Then again, Oblivion did come out in 2006, so there are some limitations going on. Granted, there shouldn't be any limitations in like the creativity department because creativity has been around since the inception of mankind.
Oh boy! All right, getting real philosophical over here.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, that's one way to do it. The way Breath of the Wild does it, it's got a story quest.
Yeah, I was gonna. Can I?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, just because I played Breath of the Wild and I think it does it like slightly differently, and it's kind of cool where the mainline quest has like different elements that have to be completed before you can like fight the big boss. So I'd consider those parts of it part of like the main storyline, but you can also do them out of order. And in each area where those happen, there's like a lot of other side things you can do.
Yeah.
So it keeps it like fresh. You still get to decide where to go, but you're always like working towards a goal. It kind of feels like, I guess if you want to, again, like any open world, you could just pick flowers and never do anything. Or in specifically Tears of the Kingdom, you could just build stuff and that could literally be your gameplay. So
yeah, and Breath of the Wild does like kind of you alluded to it. I'm just gonna drill down into it. The thing where they each like, so you do the tutorial area, it opens up, you got 4 different areas to do things in, and then you've got the final boss. Each of those 4, so that's the opening of the world, right? And all 4 of those things are part of the main quest, but they're all like completely isolated things. Like if you go to the Goron area after beating the Zora area, there's like nothing that's like, you're the hero of the Zora.
Right.
It's the Goron area doesn't build on the Zora narrative or vice versa. They are their own narratives that lead into the main narrative of now you're defeating Ganon.
The thing that can affect it is like each area gives you a new power in both games. And so like taking one power to another area could impact the gameplay there. Not in like a big way, but it like just what resources you have and don't have when you show up there is different.
But that the narrative never accounts for that, right? They're never like, oh, you've got the power of the fire sage.
No, and there's no situation where you like need the Zora power to fight something in like the Goron area or whatever.
Yeah. And then the narrative eventually culminates in fighting Ganon. However, you can also just directly fight Ganon, and that's the speed run.
Yeah, you also don't need to do all of the little areas in either game. You could just go to the main boss area and start that fight whenever you want. But what they've done to kind of dissuade that a little bit is you have to fight every mini boss in a gauntlet.
Big boss. Those are the big bosses.
Well, I think of the big boss as the final guy.
Oh, okay. Mini boss is usually like the little guy midway through a level.
Oh.
Then you have the boss of the level, and then you have like the final boss would be Ganon.
Well, anyway.
That's the terminology that I'm used to.
You have to fight a gauntlet of all the ones you skipped.
Yeah.
So they don't let you get away with that.
And in addition to that, you recruit heroes to help you.
Right. So if you don't have those heroes, it's harder.
Yeah. So I think that is a fun thing, and that also builds the narrative because like the narrative is you are defeating like his lieutenants, the main villain's lieutenants.
Right.
And if you defeat them, they're not there in the final battle. That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
That's a neat little thing.
It's a neat little thing.
And it is narrative. It is both a mechanic and a narrative. The hardest thing to do, and I cannot think of any game. Well,
live thinking, folks.
Disco Elysium.
Oh, interesting.
I think is the game that comes closest to just having enough flags set in the game code to be able to incorporate the overall narrative. Because there's a ton of things to do. Not all of them are necessary. Not all of them actually directly contribute towards like the main quest, we'll call it, in any way. But a lot of things like do come up. It's hard to talk about this without like big spoilers, but effectively almost everything that you do does build up into the overall like finale. The game does end with kind of, we'll call it a trial of your character, where almost everything that they've done comes into account. Like, you can do drugs in the game. If you're just doing drugs, that comes up there.
Okay.
If you help the cryptozoologist, look for cryptids.
This is a
That
fascinating
comes
game.
up. If you've gone around telling every person that you meet that the apocalypse is coming and to prepare for doomsday, that comes up. If you've become a communist, that comes up. Like, there's all kinds of things that you can do in the game that comes to this narrative culmination of like what your character is at the end of the game and what you've done. And I think that is the only game that I've like ever seen that doesn't either take the main quest route or you have a bunch of unrelated areas that you can do that culminates towards the finality.
So would you say Disco Elysium's an open world?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I never
absolutely.
imagined it that way. I say imagine. I've not played it, so I don't know. But everything I've seen of it didn't feel open world to me.
I would say it's open world. The amount of different things that you have open to you at any given time, like you are not following like a narrative linear path. There are certain things. It has a day system, so like some things don't happen until like the third day, for example. But from the start, like the first quest that you have is get a dead body out of a tree.
Okay.
I think it took me 4 in-game days to do that. And that was you play as a cop, and I'm just letting this corpse like hang from a tree this entire time. You know? Like, as I'm like talking to every other character in the city and doing all kinds of insane little side quests and talking. I don't think you can talk to the cryptozoologist at that point, but like, you can explore an abandoned building and find a refrigerator shaped like a bear.
I mean, this is not okay. I mean, this is not an advertisement for Disco Elysium, and now I am way more. I've been interested since you've played it, but
even though I had mostly negative things to say about it.
Yeah, but it's like fascinating.
It is fascinating. I was actually talking to my friend yesterday who I saw on Steam was playing Disco Elysium, and I basically described it as I hate that game, but I love the aura.
Good, yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that has come from me playing Disco Elysium is, even though I think a lot of the humor in the game is trying too hard, every single person who has played Disco Elysium is the funniest person I've ever seen. Like, literally all it takes to get me rolling on the floor is for someone to like post a tweet, and then they just put like the portrait of a character in game that like fits that tweet.
Oh yeah, you've shown me
like,
this. You've shown me this.
I like, I'm dying. People will like just post like in character as things from Disco Elysium, and it's like 10 times funnier than the game itself. But I have the context of like what these are supposed to, like what these are from the game.
Yeah.
And so like I get these jokes, and I find these jokes way funnier than anything in the game. And I don't know if that just means that I'm a broken person or what, but playing Disco Elysium, even though I think my final view of it is negative, has improved my life just because of now I get all these really funny jokes.
Okay, there you go.
Built off of Disco Elysium.
All right. Well, we've definitely lost the plot a little bit with our discussion, but that's okay.
Hey, that's disco for you.
That's disco. You know what else is disco? The rapid fire round.
Oh. Wow. Sorry.
A little too excited about that one.
Yeah, it killed me.
Okay. So that's where we generate 3 random words. We're going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, we need to come up with a game idea, a name, and a gameplay loop for a game made up of those 3 words. Are you ready for our first set of 3 words?
Yes. I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1.
Global, chart, rough.
Water, sails, rough seas,
Okay,
charter,
rough seas.
course.
Chart could also be like a chart, like a star chart. Yeah, cartography.
Wait, what if you are an exploratory exploratory boat?
I like exploratory boat personally, but continue.
What if you are an exploratory boat that is charting routes across the seas, like safe routes through the sea, and cartographing coastlines. So it's like an exploration
and it works
game.
with global too. I think maybe it could be like could it be like a really, really long play roguelite? So like the world is randomly generated every time you play.
Yes, absolutely.
And that way, and like I think rough it would have to be like the seas are always kind of tricky, and part of the game is navigating.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like there's specific courses that you like chart, and like you can sell these courses that you sail.
You mean like,
You sell the charts for you, like literally
yeah.
once you sail.
I don't know if it's a course, like a.
Isn't that what it's called?
I guess I've heard people say chart a course, but I feel like you don't say like I'm selling a course. Like you sell a map, a route. I think.
Right. Yeah. You sell a chart that indicates the route.
Yeah.
Right. That's a sea chart.
Yeah.
Right. That's what that means. And so like once you've done this path, you can sell it, and like depending on how smooth that sail is, like you get more money for it, which you buy equipment that allows you to navigate like different areas, or like be able to detect whirlpools and icebergs and other hazards ahead of time. Basically things that improve your survival chance. And like, yeah, and then if you discover like new areas that have like the coastlines can have like natives and different resources and stuff. So if you can sell a chart to a specific like important trading outpost or mine on the coastline or something, like that's worth a lot more money, and then you upgrade to be able to find more isolated things.
So it's like commerce, trade, maps, money getting, and globes. Cool. I think it sounds cool. We got to name it.
Chart the Globe, a high seas adventure.
It's just like that's like it's too so obvious.
No, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, I mean it works. It works. It's just very much exactly what the game is. Maybe that's what we need today.
Globo Salo.
Okay, that's a little too vague. We got to get somewhere in between. It's called a globe because it's not flat.
Sea coursing.
Sea coursing? I like.
Yeah,
like. Because it kind of sounds like a course of a meal all at the same time, which isn't related, but I like I like the sound.
Yes.
Sea coursing, discover the globe. Discover a globe, because there's multiple choices.
Sea coursing, discovery.
Yes. Nope. I'm locking it in.
Okay. All right. Sea coursing, discovery, a minute and
sea coursing. Oh, you know what? I also like it because
left.
it kind of sounds like seahorse.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Next 3 words.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Think, flourish, indication.
Okay. Fencing.
Okay. Yeah.
Fencing.
Yeah.
The flourish is, I don't know, that's some
I think it's a fencing thing.
It's like when you add like a twirl to your wacha.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't know anything about fencing, but I think it's
what was the third word?
I got open up again. Indication.
Indication.
So think, flourish, indication.
So, all right, the think part is I'm thinking that this is like a fencing deck building game.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So you have like cards that represent different fencing moves.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Oh, I just don't like deck building games that are on the computer because I don't think they make sense. Why wouldn't you just have it on? Why wouldn't it just be a deck? Like virtual cards are weird to me.
Yeah.
But if you're on a roll, that's fine.
Okay. But anyway, okay. So you've got like your deck of whatever amount of cards that represent different fencing moves. They get shuffled. You draw a certain amount. That's your thinking. That's your thoughts. Those are the different moves you have available to. And then the enemy, they pick a card. It shows an indicator of like what they're planning on doing,
and
you
that's
pick
a little bit of a stretch
best.
for indicator.
You don't like that?
I don't mind it. I just think that like saying that like the game indicates what card they pick is
a
bit.
It's like vaguer than like explicitly telling you which card they picked. Like it'll indicate like a forward arrow to suggest that they're doing some kind of thrust or something.
Okay, so
and then you have to pick like which of the like 3 moves you have available best suit parrying or blocking or counter thrusting or whatever, like getting a point in from what they've got.
Okay.
You're not feeling it?
I mean, it's a game. I wouldn't play it, but
okay. So it doesn't have to be deck building. Like it could just be fencing in that like you have a number of moves to go through And
Well, I mean, the deck building makes sense in the, maybe not building. I don't know if building's the right
the
word.
reason
but,
I
like,
added the deck building is to have some kind of like randomization.
well,
and
that's what I'm saying.
constraint,
Like,
'cause-
it makes sense in that. Like, I can picture the game you're describing. Just because I wouldn't
Yeah.
play it doesn't mean it's not a game or a good game.
Okay.
It's just not my style of game. I was gonna go more Street Fighter, but fencing. That was where my brain was at.
Okay.
But I think we'll keep it with you already did it, so. And this is the rapid fire round, not to think about it for a long time round.
That's true. We do have 5 whole minutes, but okay. All right, let's come up with a name. Fencing in. Fencing out.
Fence of cards.
Fence of cards.
Like House of Cards.
Oh man, you
Fences.
build this deck and it all comes falling down just like a
Yeah.
house of cards. Wow. Amazing.
Fencing gauntlet.
Fencerola.
Fencerola. Flourish and dodge. The fencing game. Flourish and parry. The fencing
I do
game.
like flourish and dodge.
Okay.
Or flourish and parry makes it so much like that is evocative of fencing entirely to me.
Yeah.
But flourish and dodge rolls off the tongue better.
Right.
So what are we going for? Mouthfeel or
I think mouthfeel, honestly.
okay,
for today.
flourish and dodge. Flourish and dodge. 1 minute and
Okay.
17 seconds left on the clock.
All right.
Face ID. Okay, starting the timer in 3, 2, 1, go.
Salesperson. Misery. Prejudice. So this is Death of a Salesman.
I was gonna say that.
Video game.
Okay. Okay. Just are we doing a straight up visual novel adaptation of
I
Death
think
of a
that
Salesman?
would be so funny because Death of a Salesman's like one of my least favorite plays of all time.
And it's just like a visual novel.
I would say
do you
it's a
think?
visual novel that just like is designed to kind of torture the player
Okay. Yes.
a little bit. So wait, let's.
Should there actually be like a salesman mechanic to it?
Well,
like,
yeah, and I think we should we like briefly summarize Death of a Salesman? It's been so long since
it
I've
has
seen
been.
it.
So, I couldn't summarize it except for I know how it ends, and I know vaguely like the storyline.
Okay, spoilers for Death of a Salesman, I guess. How does it end? Because I don't remember how it ends.
So at least the play that I saw of it is the stage goes dark and then it shows headlights on like a brick wall, and then you hear the car accelerate, and then the lights the headlights on the wall get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you hear a crashing
Okay,
sound.
yeah, okay, it's coming back to me. Yeah, so basically, this is about a guy who's a door-to-door salesman, and his life just sucks so bad,
Yeah.
and then that's the end. So
Yeah.
And it's like-
does he kill himself for insurance purposes, like to give his family a better life than
I
he
don't
can give them with
know.
his actual job?
the only vibe I
vaguely
got
remember
was that he was
being
like
it.
incredibly depressed. His family like hates him because he's always away from home. His job sucks. Like that's all I remember, and it's just like basically like emotional torment for 2 hours. Might not even be 2 hours long. It felt like 2 hours. We had to watch it in English class. Many people do.
Right.
What
I'm
if
looking
it's-
up Spark Notes real quick.
Okay. I was thinking, what if instead it is a visual novel, but it also has, so I guess it's more like visual novel adventure. There's some things where you can choose to try to like make it better, but it's like incredibly hard.
Oh, there's like a victory path where you
Yeah.
can like repair all of his relationships
Because I'm kind
and
of
do a
thinking
good
like,
job.
so like, I honked and bonked this a while ago, but the game Elsinore, where
Yeah.
you like play through Hamlet, what's
Yeah.
kind of cool is like you can play through Hamlet as the play is written, but then you can also like do something.
Fix it.
You can like, quote, fix it. You know, it's a complicated game. That's a different game, but like through your choices you make, you can actually like basically like do the play different. So I think that would be kind of fun, is to try to like make it incredibly hard to make the path fixable, but still make it an option
I
so
do
that
like
people
that.
replay it and they're trying to like get this better.
I do like it. And okay, I really like this because like the first playthrough, people familiar with Death of a Salesman zoom through it, they click, they like,
Right.
oh, this is like literally line by
Yeah, they're
line,
like, this is
the
just Death
play.
of a Salesman.
This is what this character says in this moment. Easy peasy, game ends. But it says game over instead of you win. And then they have to poke through every single option.
I love that.
Until it says you like
Or
like doing the play as is a lose condition.
the Elden Ring, you died.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, naming it.
And they're like,
naming
no, that's how the play ends. That's good.
What if it's like the name? It's like death, and it's crossed out, and then like life, and it's crossed out, and then like question mark of a salesman.
Oh my God. Yes. Death. Okay. Crossed out. So it would really just like the final title, like
It's like question of a salesman.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's also the episode title. I'm sorry.
Okay. It has
4
to
question marks of a salesman.
Of a salesman.
All right.
Wait, is there a question mark at the end of a salesman?
Yes. Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Yes.
I'm looking up if that's in the Death of a Salesman. I think it is.
We have a minute and 12 seconds left. I closed it out. We're done.
Close
We're
it out,
done.
close it out.
We won.
Yeah, that was a win. I just want to see if it's in the public domain.
1949.
No, then probably not.
But I think that we could.
Oh, I mean, we can still name our episode that. That's fine.
Correct. I'm just trying to think of the path to making this game a reality.
Yeah, because I think it's like 1929 is like the cutoff now for.
It also depends on whether.
Well, yeah, it depends on how it was copyrighted at the time as well. But like
Yeah.
like
Okay,
like just
it's not AI says.
Yeah, well, AI is
believe it.
often wrong.
Yeah.
Almost constantly wrong, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So it would be very hard to make this work without. So you wouldn't be able to like directly 1-to-1 like quote Death of a Salesman, but you could take the entire structure. I'm pretty sure. And since we're playing with the form here,
I mean, it can't be that expensive to buy the rights, honestly.
that's also
like how many
true.
video game companies are trying to buy the video, because you don't have to buy the whole rights. You just,
have to buy the
video
game
game rights to Death of a Salesman. Like,
You're right. I bet that is
I
cheap.
think it would be okay. So I'm gonna say it's fine, but it is not in public domain. Sadly, not yet. Wait, like 20 years, and then we can do this for real.
So don't either buy the rights and tell us how much it costs, or don't make this game until 2045.
But thanks for listening to our episode.
Yeah.
You can find us at makethatgame.com. You can also email us, makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You can email us theme ideas, game ideas, just say hi. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We really appreciate that. Helps people find our show. And we also just appreciate word of mouth. Like, if you like the show, tell your friends. Make them listen to it.
Bring
sit
them up
them
at
down.
your game design group meetups.
When you're at all of your game design group meetups, play it as they
You're
enter.
acting like people don't do that. People do that.
Well, then why aren't we should be going there and handing out flyers or something?
That's because we don't want to go to the Boston once a month.
Yeah, Boston's really hard to get to. Anyway,
Yeah. It'll
but,
eat our entire weekend.
If you did hear a game today that you want to play, as long as you have the rights to make it, we encourage you to get out there and
Make that game.